Hey, what's up? This is Andre the Giant here. Recently I feel like I've been reviewing quite a few things which are perhaps a little bit less known or a bit more off the beaten track. So this time I'm returning to a staple item of techwear in the form of the Acronym Downtown Air Force One. These released last year, pretty sure these were 2017. They're released in three colours. There was an olive version, a white version, and a crimson version. I happen to have the crimson ones here, so let's take a look. This was Acronym's third major shoe collab with Nike, first being the Lunar Force 100, second being the Acronym Presto, and third being these. Now these didn't really pick up the same levels of hype that the previous two did. I think that's partly because of the unusual looks of these and their difficulty in styling and wearing with other things, which probably put off a lot of your average hype beast or sneakerhead crowd. Originally these retailed for £205 or $250. I'd like to think that you'd be able to pick them up a little bit less than that secondhand, but to be honest, I'm not too up on the prices, so I'd recommend having a little shop around and see how low you can find these. Anyway, let's have a bit of a closer look at these. In my mind, there are three main features that make these stick out, make them a little bit special, so let's take a look at exactly what those are. First of all, these are much higher compared to an Air Force One High because of all this neoprene material that turns this shoe into much more of a boot. It makes them look quite masculine, quite imposing, quite a heavy duty look. It's got a nice texture, it's nice and soft, although you don't really notice it that much because it isn't tight around your foot, so it doesn't provide any kind of structure or support. It is pretty much just there for aesthetics, and you could say arguably a little bit of warmth as well. So although there is a zip on the side that loosens and tightens this, because it doesn't really do anything when it's tightened up, most people undo these a little bit to just let the top of that material kind of billow out a little bit, so that there's a little bit more space around the shoe and makes it look a bit more casual. When it's done up all the way, it makes it look a little bit like a motorcycle boot, but when it's undone, it doesn't billow out too much and you don't get a big gap in the side of the shoe because there is some leather behind the zip which prevents it opening out too much. The second thing is the strap, which runs over the top of the laces, over the top of the shoe. This is very heavily military inspired, obviously, and a similar kind of strap to what you might find on a lot of other tech pieces. For example, I think the Acronym 3A uses, if not this strap, a very similar one. The fastening system is very cool and it does help lock your foot in over and above just laces on their own. Although you don't have to have this done up, again, you could slacken this off for a bit more of a casual, slouchy kind of look. In my mind, the strap is the big key to making this fit nicely in a techwear uniform. The third thing is the heel. The neoprene material is cut away to reveal this rigid structure underneath, which helps show some of that colour through. This is the only place, apart from the laces, where you find the crimson colouring that this particular colourway of the shoe gets its name from. And quite unusually for Acronym, there is some quite prominent Acronym branding on the back as well. Even though it is tonal, it's still quite a large logo and text for Acronym standards. So those are the big three, but there's a couple of other minor little things as well which help make this shoe look cool and again different to a classic Air Force One. You'll notice that the Nike tick is stitched on, which give it a little bit of a deconstructed kind of appearance that Acronym like doing with shoes. You'll see that especially with the Lunar Forces that have that almost stuck on at the end zip. The neoprene of the top of the boot extends downwards as well, so that actually quite a lot of the shoe on the outside is made of this neoprene material. Over the toe cap though and towards the front of the shoe, it's quite a nice thick leather, which seems really high quality, nicely finished. It has quite a light texture to it as well. Certainly beneficial from a durability and a weather resistant standpoint. Of all of the Acronym shoes, these are certainly going to be the best ones in terms of outdoor performance. The sole is quite cool, it's got a bit of a translucent effect. Obviously you're not going to see this too much because it's going to get dirty pretty quickly, especially if you're wearing these out in bad weather. But when you get them out of the box, it does look quite nice. There's also two different laces that come with each pair of the Downtown Air Force Ones. These ones being the crimson, they have red laces as well as black ones. The white ones, I believe, have black and white laces, and the olive ones have black and olive laces. So what's the comfort and the fit like of these? I've had a lot of contrasting opinions as to what sort of size you should buy for these. Personally, I bought these half a size down because my actual size wasn't available and expected them to be too small because I've heard a lot of people say that you need to go bigger than a normal Air Force One or even just stick to your regular size. From my experience, I found these come up pretty long and pretty narrow. So I've got a fairly regular kind of foot, and lengthwise, half a size down actually fitted fine. On the width, they're a little bit snug, but after I slackened the laces off a little bit, although you can still feel that slight tightness, it's not uncomfortable, and I think it's fine, to be honest. So if your feet are more on the narrow side, then I would definitely consider going half a size down, but if you find that your feet are quite wide, then stick to your regular size, just so that you're not getting too much tightness. The sole is just a standard Air Force One sole, so it's not insanely comfortable, but it does do the job. It doesn't have any Air Max technology or anything like that. The leather as well over the toe cap, not as soft or as pliable as those knitted shoes that I seem to be wearing quite a lot these days. And although the neoprene is super soft and feels really nice when you touch it, when you're actually wearing the shoe, you don't really feel it that much, so you pretty much come out neutral on that one. What to wear with these could be a whole video in itself, to be honest, because I do think it requires a little bit more thought than your average pair of sneakers. If you just chuck on some blue jeans and a t-shirt, for example, these probably aren't going to look that great. You're probably going to have a bad time. The quite military and imposing look of these, I think, demands a similarly outdoor looking pant, something like a cargo, or the wovens that I looked at a few weeks ago and paired up with these. And also something that's a little bit more relaxed looking. I think if you wear something that's super skinny, it's really going to accentuate the size of these sneakers compared to a regular pair. So if you wear something that's a bit more relaxed, it just helps keep that nice silhouette going the whole way down. The top half I think is a similar story, outdoor ready stuff like jackets, keep it quite relaxed, allow for a bit of volume in there. There's no need to mix the colours up too much with these, I think sticking to that classic black and olive heavy techwear look, I think that's going to look pretty good here, especially with the crimson colourway, the ones that I have here, just because I feel like if you start using too many different colours, then there's the risk of the crimson colour clashing with whatever else that you're wearing. So fine with this, for example, because the colour matches quite nicely, but too many other things and I think it's going to start looking a little bit weird. So these are not the most versatile shoe because they require a little bit of outfit planning, I think, to wear these effectively, nor are they the most comfortable shoe because they get beaten by something like the VaporMax Utility that I looked at a couple of weeks ago. But what they are is a perfect kind of techwear aesthetic shoe for something that's a little bit more relaxed, more layered, more outdoor ready. And I think they fill a niche between the Acronym Presto and a traditional boot that no other shoe really occupies or comes close to. It's definitely a head turner as well. This is a very distinctive shoe, and I think despite it maybe not being that hyped, it was still a very high profile release. So a lot of people on first glance are going to know exactly what these are. In my opinion, these are not a great first techwear purchase or something to start off a techwear wardrobe with, but if you like the look of these and you've got a couple of other things already which you feel would look quite nice with them, then I think they're a great addition to a techwear wardrobe, and with all the acronym association, but without the high price and the arguable overhype associated with the Acronym Presto. So those are my thoughts on this very cool and very unique shoe. Let me know what you guys think about them. I'm sure you'll be very familiar with these shoes already. And if you'd be interested in having more of a dedicated sort of how to style these shoes type video, it's not really something that I've done before, but definitely happy to give that a go. I feel like I've got a few things in my head that I could wear these with and have them look fine. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week in the next video. Shout out Uriel, who suggested alpha clothing. I did have a quick look. They kind of seem quite similar to Yamoro in some ways, and they're kind of like a fitness brand that are also doing some things that could fit in a techwear wardrobe. So that's something cool to check out, I think. And shout out to Francis for noticing my tactical video length. I do plan on making this one a little bit shorter, so hopefully I've stuck to that, but if not, my bad. Last week I forgot, but this week I might remember to put the 2 videos up there, in which case you can click on those and watch them. And if you haven't subscribed, but you made it all the way to the end of this video, so you must like it a little bit, then you should consider doing that. Just hit that little button, and that's all it takes, and then you're done. Easy.